Joyride 1957, a novel of intrigue by J.P. Wasmiller, Chapter 101. Exactly one floor up from the German's room in the Olympic Hotel, a young man had his map spread all over a king bed. James did not see, rather recognize Rebecca or the German at the fish market. He was not a big fan of fish, but was curious to see what the world-famous fish market was all about. After spending an hour there, he walked down toward his hotel, and passing by the Metropolitan Grill, he stepped in and asked for a table for one. The hostess said that all reservations for the evening were taken, but he could dine in the bar. He did so. While chewing on sourdough bread and sipping on some Cabernet, he watched the hostess as she worked away, greeting and seating customers. She was at least 6 feet tall in heels and had long dark hair and dark eyes. It had been a while, and he wondered. Then he saw the male co-host eyeing her and decided to dig into his arriving Caesar salad. As he devoured the wonderful salad, he stared out the window and reviewed the events of the past week. He had witnessed the massive explosion of the Lincoln Continental Mark II that he should now be driving. He instinctively walked the other way in that city of Kamloops, and after a few blocks found a bronze 1957 Chevrolet Nomad with a white top. He hot-wired it and headed south. The Chevrolet had a 283 cubic inch engine of fuel injection power with beautiful brushed chrome rear fenders topped with neat fins. He stopped to fill gasoline at a BP station and was told the fastest way down to Hope in Vancouver was the train over the Coquihalla Pass. There was no road there, so he would have to go over to Merritt and Lytton if he wanted to drive. Then he could take Highway 1 down to Hope in Vancouver. He worked his way over to Merritt and eventually to Hope. He took a room there and the next day drove into Vancouver. Against his better judgment, he just had to check out Penrose Island and made it there the day before Misty and Delora. He found what they did, nothing. He satisfied his trail was not in that direction. He took a room in the Hotel Vancouver, but was unable to stay awake long enough to research the sentinel moment he had in the Plaza Hotel in Kamloops. He conked out before he could order supper and awoke the next morning to a bright sun. Thinking he probably would have difficulty crossing back in the United States with at least a half a dozen agencies on his tail, he rented a charter boat and was in Seattle in a few hours. He first went to the fish market near the pier, but decided on steak and ended up here now in front of a New York strip the size of Manhattan. He got through about 2/3 of the steak before his stomach screamed, "No more!" He gave his waiter a note for the hostess as she brought the dessert menu. She looked much like the hostess, but had red hair tied up above her head. He ordered the creme brulee, and when she returned, she handed him a return note. It read, "Midnight." His heart skipped a beat as he stuck his spoon into the dessert dish. He paid the check and walked out into the misty evening air. He did not see the hostess, but was sure he would a few hours later. He was soon at the Olympic, and in his toasty room, maps still spread all over the place. He stared out the window.